And if we will, about a minute or two after 5, it's time to start our regular monthly meeting in the town of Holden Beach. And if you will, let's take a moment, bow our heads, and have a moment of reflection and appreciation for being at Holden Beach. All right, thank you so much, and we'll officially call the meeting to order and officially welcome all of you. And let's stand and pledge our allegiance to the flag to my right. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. For those of you that may not know, the table, the rear of the room, that corner has all the documentation in regards to the minutes and the paperwork that are going to be involved in the meeting tonight. So help yourself. And also, if you cannot hear, if you raise your hand, I'll try to ask whoever's speaking to speak up so that you may hear. And with that, we will officially start the meeting, and we are now on item number 4, and we're going to consider the approval of tonight's agenda. Is there a motion to?
I'd like to make 2 changes if we could. Do you want to hear them together or just one
One at a time.
Okay, first one is to add an item for discussion and possible action regarding a plan to fill the vacant commissioner seat. And the second one is to change the order of 7 and 8 so that the audit committee report can come before decisions about making changes to the audit.
So you want to reverse the order of 7 and 8?
Yes.
And you want to add a discussion
Possible action regarding our plan to fill the empty seat.
What's the pleasure of the board?
We can do a discussion. I don't think we can
Okay.
make an
All right, we can just add or not add at this point. So
Can I amend the motion to that it's only discussion?
you can, let me think just a minute. You've got a motion on the floor
To make
to
2
amend,
changes.
yeah, to make 2 changes. We have not voted on those yet. So, and that, we need a second on that motion.
I'll second it.
All right. Now, discussion on the motion to add 2 items. Add 1 item and reverse the other item, okay? Did I get that right?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. And is this discussion?
Discussion is yours. You have the
Okay.
floor.
Well, I mean, we're required to fill this spot. We need to do it, the sooner the better for the town, which is why I'm pushing. It seems like the other approach is to have a special meeting. I'd rather have it taken care of now than have a special meeting.
Any more
So
discussion?
you want to fill the position tonight?
No, I just
Oh,
want
so
to
it-
discuss and for us to agree on a plan, how we plan to fill it.
But, and I think, Tom, I think if we discuss it, I'm in favor of discussing it because I agree. I think we need to discuss it. I'm not in favor of us making a decision tonight. So if you would revise it to where it's discuss only, I would be approved. I would support that.
Any more discussion?
I've done the research. I mean, there's two things. We can appoint somebody, or we can solicit applications and pick somebody off of that. So I don't feel it's a big deal.
Because we discussed having a special meeting to discuss that, and so we're not prepared to make a final. I'm all for discussion.
No, this isn't to pick it all. This is just how we're gonna go about choosing somebody to fill. How are we gonna go about it? It's a plan for filling it. It's not to actually fill it or.
I may be wrong, but it sounds like we're discussing what we were going to discuss.
And we're getting ready to cut it off.
Yeah.
So I would support reversing items 7 and 8. I would not support making an action tonight as far as filling the seat. I would be open to discussion.
Okay, any more discussion on the fact, not the subject, so to speak, the fact of adding these to the agenda? Any more discussion? Any more proposed changes?
Can we split that?
We can make two motions.
If the second, person that made the second and the person that made the first, which is Tom, agree to that, yes.
And your amendment was just to discuss it. Is that what your amendment was? To just discuss the
Well,
issue?
you'd have to change the.
Yeah, he's
I
got.
mean,
to
I'm
change
just
it.
asking.
Yes, mine was just to change it to discussion.
Do you agree?
We could just, yeah, I mean, we need to move forward. If we can only discuss it, not decide how we're gonna do it, then that's. better
One
than
thing that
nothing.
Just some clarification, I believe y'all were saying, everybody's
thing.
saying the same thing.
Mhm.
So if you would agree to say that, reversing the two and then adding, let's say, an item 14, Mr. Mayor, is that where you want, I mean, or where would you want to put it?
Well,
13A or B?
if we're still discussing, this actually topic is already in your notes at the end.
That,
So if we put it at 14, it's gonna be at the same place. So we could just agree to talk about it when it comes to your time.
true, but, yeah, that, I work for the pleasure of the board, so.
I mean, if we put it 14, it's gonna be the same thing,
You're correct.
14 is fine.
So,
or whatever the,
15.
at the end.
you got the numbers yet?
Okay, let me see if I can simplify this. Does anyone disagree with that, just reversing 7 and 8?
No,
Anybody have a problem with that?
no.
Mm-mm.
Okay. Madam Clerk, we're going to reverse 7 and 8 on the agenda. We have a consensus on that, I assume.
Yes,
Alright.
sir.
So now we're back to the item of appointing or discussing or whatever do we agree we're not going to discuss the appointment, we're going to discuss the way you would later consider action on filling the spot. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay,
And it's already in 15, right?
so in 15, the town manager, you gonna bring that up?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so if we have the consensus that Tom's motion, in effect, will go away because we have the consensus to reverse 7 and 8
Mhm.
and to talk about it on 15, on the appointment situation. Is that where we are?
Yes.
Are you okay with that?
I'm okay. I'd like to do it sooner, but,
You'd like to do it sooner?
well, because 15 is we're pushing to either a special meeting later or March.
No, we're
No, we're talking about on tonight's agenda.
Yeah.
No, item
not
number
the 15th,
I don't-
Yeah,
the number 15.
I had
No,
placed it in my
Manager's
manager's
It's
report.
It's already in the
And so
report.
that's the reason we would be bringing it up there. So,
Do you understand what we're doing?
I understand what we're doing.
But you don't like that?
I would prefer to move faster.
Where would you like for it to be on the agenda?
Oh, no, not on the agenda, just in terms of filling the seat. Because I don't think we'll be able to,
We're all lost. So, Tom, it's already on the agenda.
okay, I'm good with
It's,
that then.
it's in number 15,
Okay.
tonight's agenda.
So there'll be discussion.
It's on the top of the second page of his.
I read it, yes.
Oh, so you know it was in there?
I know it's either a special meeting or discussed in March, that's what that says.
No, he's gonna discuss it tonight.
But that's what it says.
Yeah, but
what
that's
it
what it
says, it didn't
says.
say.
But-
Okay,
yeah, during that discussion is when y'all can clarify what you want. I was just bringing it up, and that was just two different recommendations that I would say.
So this is the third.
Yep, that's it. Anything you want to do.
Okay. The chair understands we're gonna discuss it when we get to number 15 on the agenda.
Okay.
Okay, anybody oppose that?
Mm-mm.
Okay. So now the chair would like to have a motion to approve the agenda.
Wait.
Okay, we got something else?
Yes, we need to,
Okay,
I'd make a motion to add an executive session at the end for personnel reasons. Heather,
okay,
can you?
need a second on that?
second.
Okay, everybody agree with that?
I know nothing about it.
Well, we didn't know anything about what you brought up. Same thing.
To be fair, I don't know what it's about either, but it's our third meeting, so we might as well have an executive session.
All right, Okay, so we're gonna reverse 7 and 8. We're gonna talk about Tom's position on the board at number 15, and we're gonna add number 18. No, we're not. We're gonna have 18A is executive session. And 18B is adjourned. Is that okay? Everybody with me on that?
Yes, sir.
Now I'd like a motion to approve the agenda as amended.
Make a motion.
Second.
Discussion, hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Thank you, Lord, for letting us get through that. I hope that's not an indication of what the mic's gonna be. All right. So now we're on number 5, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
All right. Is there a list for me to look at, which people have signed up for the items on the agenda only at this point in time, and then the opportunity to speak about anything for anybody in the audience will come later. And that would be number 14, that somebody can speak on anything they want to speak. But right now, agenda items only. And Joseph Genovese. Did I get the last name right?
You did.
Good job.
Got one thing right, so. All right.
I'll try not to stir it up.
Yeah.
Good afternoon, and thank you for the opportunity. So I'm going to start off by saying I speak against any changes to the current policy with paid parking dates. And before my name gets thrown into a Facebook fight, or I get called things like greedy or other things that suggest where I'm from, I'm going to explain. Okay, Keith, about 6 or 8 weeks ago, you wrote an article or a post that talked about paid parking. And one of the things you said that caught my eye was that when you pay for parking, you pay for parking. You're not paying for the beach. You're not paying for the sunshine. You're not, and I'm paraphrasing here, so my apologies. But you pay for parking. My suggestion here for you folks tonight is going to be to come up with ways to maybe enhance that a little bit. Okay. So we'll talk about your parking spot. So when you come and you pay for parking, yeah, you do get a parking spot. But what you should get with that is a nice level, safe area that is clearly defined. You shouldn't have to traps through deep water to get there and potholes to get there. It's a problem. Okay, so that's the first thing that I think you should get for your paid parking. Secondly, I think once a family is on the beach enjoying themselves for the day, at some point the family's going to have to go to the bathroom. And you should be able to take your family, your children, to a clean, permanent bathroom facility that's there at the beach. Now, I live at 426 Ocean Boulevard West, so my access to the beach is the pier parking lot over there. You shouldn't have to go and use porta potties. Okay, porta potties are designed for short-term job sites, concerts, things like that, one-day events, not for full-time, particularly in the summer where hundreds and hundreds of people are using them on a daily basis. And finally, I think at the end of the day, when the family is getting up to leave to go home, they clean up their spot and they have garbage. They're always going to have trash. And they should be able to find a place to put that trash. Now, I stopped over there today before we came over here, and in the parking lot area, there were 3 aluminum trash cans. 2 of them were full, and it's February. So I've been to the beach many times where at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, I'm leaving and it's full. And so the people that are taking that trash off the beach, they're not taking it home. They're going to leave it somewhere. And they're going to leave it outside the garbage can because there's no, if the trash cans are full, there's nowhere to put it. Oh,
3 minutes.
Can I have two? Oh, it's only 3 minutes. I thought it was 5. I practiced 5. That's good.
You can come back
Well,
at
you
14.
did great the first 3 minutes.
Okay, so that's it?
That's it.
You come,
Can we give a guy 30 seconds or something?
So my ask for you folks is, and Mayor, I appreciate the fact you deferred this from the last meeting, because you wanted some research done, and I appreciate the data that you have. I'm not smart enough to know what all that data means, but I know that in order to get the things that I'm asking for, it takes time, it takes permits, it takes contractors, it takes architects, it takes all those things, and that takes money. So in order to do that, I speak highly to keep the parking the way it is, and you guys are the only ones that can come up with a plan on how to use that money best, okay?
Thanks, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
3 minutes. I should have announced that. Mr. Pittman?
Carlton Pittman, 144 Tarpon Drive, regarding item 6B, police report, and 15, the town manager's report, staffing of personnel. I would like to personally and publicly thank Chief Dixon for his service to the town over 20 years. I got to meet Frank and Chief, 10 or 11 years ago, fishing together with a mutual friend and neighbor. And so I know him socially first. Then when we became permanent residents, more on an official capacity, I have more than once texted Jeremy, called him, gone by the station to ask for counsel advice, not always on legal matters, law enforcement matters, and he's always given incredibly good advice. And I knew that if I said, hey man, just keep this to yourself, that he would 100% keep it to himself. We are finally fully staffed in the police department for the first time in 5 years, maybe 2 years. We were short at least 2 officers, down 3 officers for a year or so. I don't know if everybody knows that last year, late spring, we were down to 4 officers. We had 3 open positions, 3 out on medical leave. So 4 officers covering this whole beach for a couple months is tough. We need 2 officers on this island all times for their safety as well as ours. So we've had successive boards that never wanted to fund the police department and all our staffing to the levels it should be. We've finally gotten staffing up, salaries up. Please keep that up. We need to keep their salaries up. You want good people, you got to pay them. Jeremy knows that finding the right officer for this island is not easy. Everybody that's a police officer is not necessarily the right candidate for our little island. It's a unique place, a lot of unique people. No other place like it. I know that's why we all live here, visit here. Just a huge thanks to Jeremy for everything he's done. Mr. Chadwick, you have some big shoes to fill. Probably one of the most consequential things you will do is find the right officer for this replacement. Jeremy, I think you know we wish you nothing but the best. I'm sad for us, but I'm happy for you. You'll miss hurricanes, evacuations, festivals. I don't think everybody knows all the stuff that Jeremy's done through the years, not just the chief stuff sitting behind the desk, but operational stuff, out directing traffic, working festivals, in the dunking booth at festivals, things like that. He's done it all for this island, so we all owe him and all our officers and all our staff our thanks. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well said. Mr. Bauer?
Jim Bauer, 329 Ocean Boulevard West. One of the first things I want to talk about that wasn't on the item, but now is the board only mentions about replacing the empty seat with either an appointment or asking for new applicants. There is, of course, a third, and I would feel better option. Maria, this is not mine. This is Maria Surprise, one of the people that's very vocal on the island. She said, why don't we go, since the elections only happened a couple of weeks ago, why don't we go back to the person that lost the least that didn't get a seat? I think it was Chad Hock. I only think he lost by 1 or 2 votes. This would keep the majority as it is on the board that the three people that are on the board now that were voted in would want. And it would also, instead of saying, okay, you're giving it, once again, you're taking the power away from the people, to actually give it to the people because that was the person that was voted next highest in line. I think that should be an option that should be talked about. Item 10, discussion and possible improvement of the town of Holden Beach for stormwater improvement projects. We are beating a dead horse here again. The places that are so low lying that flood and stay flooded, okay, it would be so much cheaper rather than running some sort of retention, some sort of piping, and then some sort of way to collect it and process the drain water, is we should just use pumps, use emergency pumps. We have them. I've never seen them utilized other than on the other side of the gates on the west end of the community. It would be a much better way of doing it. And as I said, as I beat the dead horse again, every single time, if it is a named storm or the governor declares a state of emergency, we can pump standing water into the ICW and into the Atlantic Ocean. Item 11, about Block Q, Shades of the Pier. We're once again, like we did with the pier, asking for RFQs for companies when we don't know what we want. The answer is very simple. Ask the town. We have the electronic means to ask the town, find out what they want for Block Q, what they want for this walkway, what they want for this, what they want for that, and then ask for RFQs. Because if the RFQ, if we decide that the town wants something that's made of concrete, and we don't ask for the RFQs for concrete laying, then we have to go back to square one. Last one is the change to paid parking enforcement dates. I just want to go back to paid parking, beating a dead horse again. And my beating a dead horse again is once again where you're completely underutilizing the parking that is on private property. So many of these lots that are so close to walkways that are now wheelchair accessible are on private land. We put up the same QR code that we have for every other parking spot on this island, and you split it between the owner of the property, the Otto, or whoever the current parking Nazis are, and the town of Holden Beach. And that way, we increase the parking, we increase the availability for handicap spots, and we don't have people walking through potholes and standing water. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. All right, number 6, consideration of approving the consent agenda. Is there a motion?
Make a motion to approve the minutes.
All right, Doctor made a motion to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
Ms. Pate, second. Discussion, anyone? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
All right,
You're fast, Mayor.
You want, that's fast.
That is true. That is true.
Chair recognizes you, sir.
Okay. I had asked some questions and they're not a lot, trust me. Well, just, so on the inspection report, this was going to be it's, I guess, a question for you. I saw 3 different things. It just caught my attention. There's a project that cost $850,000. The permit fee was $20,000. I saw a single family that was 1.5 million, and the process fee was for 15,000. So like bigger project costs. I'm assuming that there's something other than square footage.
Bedrooms.
Goes based on
And
bedrooms.
the fees the tap fees, were not included, and it's based on the number of the bedrooms.
So it's not just a square footage price.
Correct.
There's other parameters. Okay.
Yeah.
Cause that would just seem like the guy building an $850,000 house is getting shellacked, and the $1.5 million house, he's getting half, well, not half, but
Yeah.
he's definitely getting more for his money.
Yeah.
So, okay. And then, the painted fire hydrants. All right. Those are awesome. Miss Pate would like to have smiley faces on them. I don't know that that's possible. We did have one recommendation that they'd be more scenic. And then I said, well, if they blend in, that's going to be a problem. And they agreed. And the other question I had for you was, I noticed in the report, you have the Pier Lake. Do you have a time frame? I've been asked 1,000 times.
Next week.
Really? Okay. So there's one of our 2 lakes that we could get going in a week. Awesome. B part, the cumulative expense at this rate of the year is substantially higher than it was this time last year. Is that due to the transfer of
The
funds?
projects, that were in here, the dredge, and then restroom.
Okay. All right. Okay. So that's probably, okay. And then with regards to parking, this is a specific question I was asked this week. Do we have a system in place during a state of emergencies that we suspend paid parking and enforcement?
I have not hit that one yet, but I believe we do because for states of emergency, that, oh, Christie, please. I'm sorry. I didn't mean, I'm sorry, Mayor.
That's been on a case-by-case basis where the staff conferred with the emergency management director. And if that was needed, then it did occur.
So we don't have a policy for that. It's just case by case, depending on the direction of the emergency director. Okay. That's it. That's all I have.
All right.
Sorry, sir.
Again, you ready to vote? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. Madam Clerk, it's unanimous. Okay, we're on what used to be number 8. Is that right, Tom?
Yeah.
That,
Are we to that? Yep.
that is correct.
Yep, that's correct. You have the floor, sir.
Okay. Last August, the audit committee was tasked with 2 items. One was related to occupancy tax collections, the other one was related to B Park fund balance. With regards to the tasker to advise the BOC about potential improvements to the collection of occupancy tax revenues, the committee concluded that the professional property management organizations were almost certainly compliant, and the concerns were primarily associated with individual property owners who might not be fully aware of their responsibilities to pay occupancy tax. The committee then explored using both a carrot and a stick to approach this and concluded the carrot would be more effective. So the committee's recommendation is for the town to implement a communication campaign focused on making sure that rental property owners are fully aware of their responsibilities and they're aware of the materials that are available to them from the town to help them comply. Also, the committee recommends that the town implement a process that allows people to submit challenges for properties that they perceive to be non-compliant. With regards to the tasker about possible improvements to the B Park fund balance, there's been a lot of misunderstanding, some confusion about the intent behind this tasker. At the end of the last fiscal year, there was over $8 million in the B Park fund. The question was, where did this money come from? And this was an important question because if the money came from underspending on the 2 cents of occupancy tax, then that money could only be spent on beach protection. If it came from the 3 cents of occupancy tax, it could only be spent on tourism-related items. If it came from a grant, then it could only be spent as specified in the grant. And if it came from paid parking, we could spend it however we wanted to. The intent was to develop a fund balance policy that clearly documented the composition of that $8 million balance relative to these restrictions. And that could be used to determine where the money could and is best to be spent. The problem that the committee ran into is that our current financial reports cannot answer that question of where the money came from. It can only tell us that this big bucket of B Part revenue paid for this big bucket of B Part expenses, but you couldn't say paid parking dollar for use for these items and the 2 cents was used for these items. So the committee kind of realized that we wouldn't be able to adopt the fund balance policy until we addressed and solved this limitation. And that is best handled by the board during the budget development process. So the committee's recommendation on this tasker is to consider addressing these financial reporting issues during the 2026-27 budget development process. I think the audit committee has done an excellent work. I think they've demonstrated how we can effectively leverage the significant expertise that our citizens have in a way that benefits the town. And the members of the committee should be commended for their efforts. So I move that we accept the committee's work, thank them for their services, declare the taskers to be complete, and to agree to consider their recommendations during the 2026-27 budget development process.
Anybody else want to speak?
It's a motion.
Anybody else want to speak and second the motion?
I'll second the motion.
All right. Discussion.
I think, obviously, the committee did a lot of work. I do want us to thank them for their efforts, private citizens taking their time and donating their efforts to the town, their expertise. I mean, some of these guys are like in the numbers, in the weeds numbers, and which is a good thing. I think we ought to declare the tasker complete. I would fall short, me personally, as far as agreeing to consider to implement their methods or their recommendations, because I'd like to discuss those independently further. But I would be definitely, I agree with the motion to accept, thank them, and declare it complete.
Anyone else want to speak?
Well, I think by him saying he wants us to agree to consider them, that's kind of what he's saying, is to kind of evaluate them and decide if we want to incorporate them as part of the budget process. At least that's the way I took it.
Did you make a motion too? Oh,
It's a motion.
okay.
Madam Clerk, would you read that motion as you have it recorded?
To accept the committee's work, thank them for their efforts, declare the tasker is complete, and agree to consider the implementation of their recommendation during the 26-27 budget development process.
All right. Everybody has the motion. Have you discussed it to the point you're ready to vote? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say no. It's unanimous, Madam Clerk. All right, now what used to be, well, what do we do?
Right there,
Eight.
number
All right,
seven.
We're on seven.
we moved 8 up to number,
7.
7 is now 8.
My turn.
all right.
At the January meeting, the board requested staff draft an ordinance removing the requirement for a commissioner to be appointed as a member to the audit committee. Ordinance 2601, which makes the change and corrects a couple of typos, is included for the board's review. The proposed ordinance also incorporates a clarification to the meetings and attendance section as suggested by Commissioner Pace. If the board would like to approve it, we recommend the motion to be approved, ordinance 2601.
Everybody understand what's being proposed?
I'd like to make a motion to accept ordinance 26-01.
Need a second?
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Anybody want to discuss it?
Yes, sir.
All right.
You go ahead, Tom.
Okay. Well, I went back through my records just to understand why the committee was established and why it was structured the way it was. And initially, when it was set up several boards ago, it required the commissioner as chair, and the commissioner also selected the members who were then approved by the board. The rationale, as I understood it at that time, was the committee, they recognized this committee was unique in that the external audit includes a test and an evaluation of the town's financial management processes and internal controls. The board's, at that time's rationale, that it was important to provide the auditor with a direct channel to connect with the board in case they found something seriously wrong. They didn't want the auditor to be blocked from those findings. I think it's important to recognize at that time, the town was consistently being flagged for significant deficiencies in internal controls and had been bilked out of a large sum of money by the Brunswick Beaches Consortium. Those items factored into the board's rationale for establishing the community and structuring it the way it did. Things are better now, but the risks still exist, and I don't think there's any harm in keeping this safeguard in place. It's better to be safe than sorry. It's also worth noting that having a commissioner on the board eliminated problems of not clearly understanding what the board was looking for them to do in the taskers. So that's also a problem that other committees often have. So I'm in favor of leaving the committee unchanged for now, at least until they can review the audit proposals, which is their primary responsibility, and that's coming up next month, and then spending time to discuss the overall situation rather than rushing to make a change at this time.
Okay. I've got a couple of things here that I just need clarification on. But to your point, Tom, the reason we were pulling the commissioner off was because we have all these other boards that no commissioner's on. The disadvantage of having one commissioner is that one commissioner does not speak for the board. all of us speak for all of us. When we meet together and we all make a thing, then we're all. But if you just have one, they're not speaking for the board, they're speaking for their voice on the board. So it's not the same thing. So there's no advantage to having, there's no difference between having a commissioner on there or a person in the public. And I think it would streamline it more if we stay consistent with all of our boards. And that's the first thing I would like to say. The couple other things that I've got is I would like to see, if we're going to change this, I would like to see the 2 and more than 4 in right under in section A, the creation, name, and number of members. I think you have a potential there. The first one needs to be at least 3, so you have an odd number so you can make a decision. Because otherwise, if you have 2 and they can't agree, then you would enter a stalemate. They wouldn't do anything. And I think we want, if we're going to have the committee, they need to be able to function. So that's one thing I would like to see revised. Under section B, section 2, it says to assist and advise the BOC in its oversight responsibility for the town's financial reporting process, systems of internal financial controls, and the external audit process. So I think I would like to see us narrow that a little bit, or at least discuss it. Number 4 is to monitor the performance of the commercial public accounting firms providing audit services to the town. I don't know how that would work. I mean, because they're going to meet here, and the auditing staff is not here; they're remote. So for them to monitor, they would have to have trips. So if we're in the middle of removing this or changing this or doing whatever, I would say that we would want to strike that unless there's a way for us to monitor, or for this board to monitor the we got the auditors auditing or monitoring the auditors, which are auditing us. So it's like, where do we stop with that process? So I don't think we need to have them monitor that. We just want to see, did they agree with what they found and did the thing right? Did they do the right thing? Number 5 says monitor the performance of the external audit firm as it relates to the annual audit of the town. Again, how do they do this? How do they monitor them? Are they making trips? Are they making phone calls? Virtual. What that doesn't. It seems like those are out of place. Number 7. Periodically confirm the suitability of the town's internal control systems and/or policies, including information technology, security, and controls. That seems like a mission creep to me. Not creep as in scary, but out of what the purpose of it. If the audit committee is to accept and review the audit, I think we should narrow the focus where that's what they do. Let's see. Number 8, receive confirmation that the audit report recommendations have been acted upon in advance of the commencement of the next. So I would like to see, if we're going to keep that in there, I'd like to receive confirmation and report that confirmation to the BOC. In other words, what are they going to do with the confirmation? If they confirm it, what's their point? So those are some things that I would like to see revised. If we're going to make a change, let's go ahead and make some changes.
I don't even know how to alter my motion. I'm sorry. Because we had this on last month and we're talking about the changes. So we had 30 days to let the clerk know about.
Okay. I'm just stating my case.
A big case.
To be fair, I wouldn't have taken any recommendations. If the board does want to do, I can't take them. Just Sylvia's was a correction to, it's more of a typo.
Okay.
If you guys had actual revisions to the ordinance and the board didn't direct me, I would not have done that.
Right.
So if you guys do want to make changes, my suggestion would be to tell me the changes this month and I'll bring it back to you next month. Or you can pass it if you don't want to make the changes. But if you do want changes, I would say give me some direction and I'll bring you a different draft back for consideration next month.
The only reason I'm trying, since we've opened up this can of worms to look at it anyway, since it's open, there's no sense us revisiting later on. And I think we just need to narrow the focus that the audit committee is looking at the audit. And being our eyes and ears on the audit and report back to us what's going on, and if they agree with it, or hey, I would look at this. I'm not opposed to having another set of eyes on it. especially people in the community that are much better versed at this than a plumber is, but
So are there specific, so there's either specific changes we can alter the first motion to, or we're gonna have to send it back to her.
yeah, I mean, I think in any case, we would make the changes, let her bring it back next time, so that everybody has a chance to see it at the next meeting.
Okay.
And the audit committee, when's the next time they meet?
Next month?
I don't
That's
think
good.
they, do you have it scheduled?
No,
Yeah, I was gonna say, I don't think they have it scheduled, but they do have the RFPs that we've received back, so the audit committee is gonna have to meet so they can give the board direction on the RFPs that we received for the auditing services for the upcoming year.
Are they
Plan
meeting
would
in
be
March?
The beginning of March, that would be the plan.
So the main purpose of the audit committee is to review the audit and report back if there's any issues with to the board, right?
well, they also
So what,
provide input to the selection of the auditor.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
and select the auditor. So,
They basically spend more time looking at this particular issue than we would.
right,
And then they come back and help us.
I need to insert something. Tom, you said, what was the last thing you said for them to select the auditor?
Well, the proposals have been out, the RFP was out, the proposals are in. The
And-
staff has reviewed the proposals, but the audit committee has not seen them, so they would look at the proposals and make a recommendation to this board on an audit.
Recommendation.
Yes.
That's
Not
correct.
select.
That's
Yeah.
correct, that's correct.
Okay,
No, they don't
I want
select,
to make sure that,
they don't select.
yeah, okay, I agree with that, but not select.
But the timing is such that they need to do that now, and they need to have another meeting. So they can be determined.
Can I summarize this and recommend that each commissioner make your proposed changes for consideration, give them to the clerk, let her do the best she can to put them in writing and get them back to you, future consideration.
My only problem with that is if you guys all have
Yeah.
different changes, and
That-
then I won't be able to.
If I got a better idea, that's
Well,
great.
can I shorten mine up?
Please.
That would help.
Please,
I would recommend 3 changes. Number 1, that we change the minimum from 2 to 3. That's an easy one. And then we delete the monitoring section. And I think the other part we'll just figure it out.
Is that 4?
Then we delete 4 and 5.
1 thing?
So
can I
change-
get a consensus on that so we can eliminate that for the clerk to worry with?
Yeah.
Okay,
I'm not gonna agree.
you're not gonna agree,
No.
so we need,
so we need to go.
so
All right,
Madam Clerk, if we could just record that 3 of the commissioners agree and Tom does not to that.
Well, can we amend the motion to accept the 2 to 3 members and then take out 4 and 5?
If that's what you want to do.
So I'll make a motion to accept
the amendments.
the amendments of 3 members instead of 2 and strike 4 and 5 under section B.
Everybody understand that?
Bring back, or are you
No.
approving the ordinance?
Approving it.
No, we're accepting the ordinance with those changes. Is that right?
That is the motion.
Could you say it again?
So we're looking for a second.
Second.
Okay, now you want to discuss it again or not? Are you ready to
I
vote?
think it could be restated, I think, boss.
Before she restates it, Tom, do you mind if I ask you about your thought process on 4 and 5? I know you are opposed to it. Is there a way that we can get to the place where you
We're
would
talking
support
about
it?
A, 4 and 5,
B, 4 and 5.
B and 4 and 5. Okay, so, no, I see that as a monitor the performance of commercial public accounting firms providing audit services to the town. I see that as a core function. If there's a problem auditor out there that we should not send an RFP to for whatever reason, we need to know about it, that they should monitor the market and see what's going on. And 5, monitor the performance as it relates to the audit. I think that's a valuable oversight too. Typically what happens now is the auditor comes in when they begin, explains what they're gonna do, comes in midway, say where they're at. So I think those are valid, valuable functions for the audit committee to perform.
Can I ask you how they do that?
By conversations with the auditor and meeting in their meetings. And then they do individual research if there's there was an issue or question with one of the auditors several years ago. There was a lawsuit going on, so they researched and came back and made statements, I don't know if it was a recommendation or what, about, that lawsuit and whether or not that auditor should be no longer considered.
Well, that's still part of their review.
That's what I see as 4 and 5 for B.
It says monitor.
Monitor the performance of commercial public accounting firms providing audit services to the town, which is knowing the market, knowing whether or not these are good firms. Monitor the performance of the external audit as it relates to annual audit of the town. So as the audit was going on, there was questions probing about, are you doing this? Are you checking that? How are you making sure that we get the occupancy taxes? How are you making sure the occupancy taxes are being spent the right way? Those are all the back and forth that we have at the meetings. I think that's very valuable to have that.
Wouldn't that be under review?
Where's review in this?
Number 6.
Well, I don't understand I mean, I'd rather have more specific scope of what it means than to just say more vaguely that it's part of review. I mean, this is,
Number 6 says review the annual audit report with the external auditor and provide a written opinion to the BOC.
yes, and that's what we did this last year. So they discussed the report, and we recommended that, the audit committee recommended that the board approve it. So these are all functions that the audit committee has been performing.
I don't,
think they all have value.
I think what he's trying to say is monitor is the same, that falls under the review. That technically you're not monitoring them because.
all right, I'll make a compromise with you. We change the word monitor to review.
I like it the way it is.
Okay.
I think the committee is very valuable. I think they're doing a good job, and this is their scope, and I think it's very specific and spelled out. And I don't want to make it vaguer.
It would seem that if you were concerned about an audit firm, though, the staff's gonna review the proposals when they come in, and I would assume that they would not recommend an audit firm to the audit committee that hadn't.
This offloads some staff work. We've got a lot of auditors on the committee, we've got CPAs on the committee that know the audit business exceptionally well. We've got partners from biggest accounting firms in the world that are on the committee.
I just don't want us to get into a situation where they feel like they can, there's no way they can monitor them doing their job. There's no way. They would have to leave this town, they'd have to go to their office and watch them do their work.
The way they did it, the way they're doing it now is through probing questions with the auditor face to face when the auditor comes and discusses what they're doing.
That's still reviewing what they've submitted.
No, it's
I
probing
would
as
be-
they're working on it. It's questioning their performance, what they're doing, and are they doing the tests and work that's required to be done as part of an audit.
We're going over the same thing.
Yes,
It's
sir.
one word or the other.
Yes, sir.
And let's just agree that that's where we are, because that's
Mhm.
what each
Okay.
of you keeps saying. So
Yes, sir.
when you vote, you can vote one way or the other, you know? Does that make sense?
Yes, sir.
What else is it? Okay, now, Madam Clerk, what is the current motion that's on the floor?
It was to accept ordinance 2601, and then we amended it to add to accept the amendments of the 3 members instead of 2 and strike 4 and 5 under section B.
Okay, somebody help me understand the wording, monitor and review. Where does that come into
We're
play?
gonna strike the.
All
They're
right,
struck.
so that's gone away.
Yeah.
Okay, so everybody understand the motion?
Yes,
Are you ready to vote?
yes.
Yes.
All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no.
No,
3-1. Okay? Are we on number 9 now?
Yes.
Okay. Ms. King?
Hi, my name is Penny King, and I am the tax collector for the for the town. And in pursuant to the North Carolina General Statute 105-369, the tax office is required to advertise unpaid real property taxes for the 2025 year. In compliance with the statutory requirements, we must publish the delinquent tax notice in the newspaper qualified to publish legal advertisements. At this time, I respectfully request that the board authorize the advertisement of the 2025 delinquent real property taxes.
This is a standard formality we have to do every year. That's the process.
I make a motion to allow the tax collector to advertise the tax liens.
Second.
Motion made, second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, say
Oh.
aye.
Hang on. Did you say something?
No.
I was trying to think, what percent does that we're talking about 10% not collected, is that kind of about where we were?
Yes.
About 10%?
Yes.
That's what I was thinking. Okay, thank you.
And does that usually stay the same, or is that just at this time of year, that's what it is?
Usually it stays about the same.
Because I think
this
our,
time of year, but we always try to do a second notice, send out a second notice.
Mhm.
We tried to do that, and then our second notices went out February the 13th. So then we have to give them 30 days, and then we can advertise after 30 days.
because this is roughly a little under 10%, but our actual rate is like 2% or something like that of,
Yes.
of non,
It's
okay.
usually closer to like 2%.
Yeah, okay. So it's just a timing thing.
Yes.
Gotcha.
I want to add something too, briefly add something. I looked down that list. There's a lot of those people's names that are on that list that have died. And there are a lot of names on that list that have sold their property. And on the closing statement, their obligation is now in the hands of the new owners. So just because you see your best friend or your brother or your sister's name
Yeah.
on the list doesn't mean that they really are behind. So there are many reasons that name can appear on there. So anyway, we have a motion and a second. You ready to vote? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say no. It's unanimous, Madam Clerk. Thank you, Ms. King.
Thank you.
All right, Ms. Ferguson, number 10.
Good evening, everyone. At last month's meeting, you guys, at the staff's recommendation, selected McGill for the RFQ for stormwater projects. The two areas that are identified with instructions for the town manager to bring a contract back. That contract is here for your review. If you remember at the last meeting, we did say that we thought there would be a special meeting in between, but they needed some more time on preparing that contract. And so as it came to us, it just made sense to go ahead and include it in this month instead of trying to call a meeting last week. So it is here for your consideration. The last page of the contract gives a line notice to proceed through June 30th. So the 180,000 is, you will accept the whole contract if you award it. But what we would encumber for this fiscal year for services is the 180,000, where we had programmed 300,000 in the budget. And then the remainder would fall into next fiscal year, because this is based on timing, the only amount they can get done that they feel before the end of the fiscal year, just so everybody understands.
Question?
I've got one.
Really?
Yeah, imagine that. So you mentioned that we had 300,000 in the budget and the contract looks like it's over that. So was that
You don't
kind of,
have to do anything because you're only,
the 180 is less than the
Mhm.
300? Okay. All right. And was
so
that,
you're accepting the whole contract, but you will know that the rest of it will come in next fiscal year.
and we kind of already knew that the price was going to exceed, we knew the price was going to exceed 300 and it was going to run multiple years, and that's why, okay. All right, I just want to make sure.
And I don't want to speak for Beef, and remember, you were supposed to come stand up here too. Because it's his project, but I'm gonna continue down this path for him.
Beef knows. I asked him a question last time. He's like 4 foot wide, 1 foot deep. He knew.
The other thing is, originally when the engineer's estimate came in for us to apply for this, the 300,000 was not predicated on construction oversight. So it was just the front part of it, but this contract takes you all the way through construction oversight.
Oh, okay. The other question I have is on the cover sheet, It says that the town attorney has not reviewed that?
The town attorney has not reviewed this, no.
What's our normal procedure?
This was just a standard contract, and typically, the entire packet is there for her, review, but it was not sent to her independently. I mean, do you want to
Yeah,
comment
that
on
is
that?
correct. It was not, no.
You can pass it subject to her review.
I can do what?
If the motion passes, you can have the motion subject to approval of the attorney.
Oh, yeah, no, I like that. Yes, sir.
Any more questions or comments?
Or you can change the motion, because then you might as well get it.
I don't think there's been a motion yet.
We were just
No, we're
discussing.
just getting a
We went
report.
straight
Well,
to
I was,
discussion.
I was just gonna make a motion to recommend approving the contract.
All right,
But you can
motion
change it.
on the floor to approve the contract, subject to the attorney's approval, is that correct?
I second that.
All right, motion made and second, discussion, Tom, Sylvia, anybody?
Or it is subject to review?
All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. It's unanimous, Madam Clerk. All righty. Number 11, you still up?
This is a together item, so I'll let Mr. Chadwick start, and then I'll chime in.
Beef, you did a great job.
Well, Tim's not here, so I'm gonna say, as everybody, they'd prefer to go to the dentist right now with any kind of Novocaine, right? Is that what we're saying? I'm just, that would be,
Tell me.
the town issued the RFQ, for architect engineering services for the Block Q Jordan Boulevard area master plan. The three submissions that you have were received McGill, HDR, and Pinnacle. Respondents were ranked using the 9 criteria outlined in the RFQ. McGill received the most points, beating HDR by a score of 455 to 450. Now, as you know, on the ranking front, it says it's 100. Well, we had 5 people that actually reviewed and scored these. 4 of the staff and 1 outside entity to come up with this score. The Board of Commissioners should consider what they want in the master plan, the final product, before a contract comes back before the board. And I'm going to let Christy elaborate, sort of give you a history of what has transpired with this area over the past few years.
All right, so I get the history lesson. Really quick, there were a couple of questions that came to us so when RFQs go out, there's an opportunity, there's always a line that says if the people that plan to respond have any questions, that they can send those to the staff and we'll respond, and then we post up the answer so that anybody that's a firm that plans to respond can read the answer. So everybody's got working with the same information with their responses they're sending back in. We were asked specific questions on things like, does the board want a traffic study? You guys had not mentioned a traffic study as part of this at all. So to our knowledge, the answer to that was the board has not said they want to do that. There were things about sustainability, and looking at more, I would say, environmentally friendly stuff. And I think the answer that was posted to the website on that said we always look to be fiscally responsible and follow the best path forward that we can to balance resources. But this objective of this idea of either a site plan or a master plan has morphed now through 2 boards. It's not just this board, it's not just the previous board, it's the board before that. And unfortunately, everybody's got a pretty good idea of what they wanted to do, but collectively, this board, who now has it, has not said what you want. You okayed the RFQ, but you haven't said specifically narrowing it down to, we would like this, we don't like this. So with people asking those questions, the outside person that we had review this, who works with master plans all the time, said, you know, really with person narrowing it down to the two firms, they're kind of apples and oranges. Because one is going to the extent to do something like a traffic study, even though we've answered that that wasn't a part of it to our knowledge. And the other is not mentioning those kinds of things. So I think that we both have talked about this, and we think there's a potential for you, this board that now has this, to be disappointed in your final product if you don't put some narrow it in, bring the wheels in a bit, so that these folks actually know what they're doing. Because this type of product is far more reaching than what was originally started out the gate with more zeros attached to it. And I'll turn it back over to Mr. Chadwick with that.
Are you speaking more, I'm sorry. Are you speaking more towards wanting input in what processes we want done, the steps we want them to go through in developing this plan, or are you asking that you want us to give specific input of what we want to see in these locations? Because that's two different things. So that's where I'm grappling here.
Do you want to take a stab at that?
I would say any and all.
So,
I mean, I'm trying not to be as generic as possible because it is, you know, we tried to, when it was included in that, you know, we gave some stuff, but it may not be what you're looking for.
Well, I think the idea was, or at least my understanding was the idea. I mean, everybody's talking about what things they want over there, if you will, in these different places. But I think the idea was we're not the experts in that area. And so we wanted them to come back to us and say, these are suggestions of how you could design this and lay this out and, you know, whatever. And then we could choose on which design we want. So I'm not sure that I understand what you're wanting from us.
I think you either have what came first, the chicken. Let me see. I think you have the chicken or the egg thing here, and you have two paths that you could follow.
Okay.
The first is you could stay real clear where you are right now and say, we want everything and anything that was in it, and we want to award a contract tonight. The second is that you could say, potentially, we still want to award a contract tonight to who we think answered the RFQ as best qualified based on what came back. But before a contract comes back for approval, the board work with staff and the planning department to narrow the focus of what you want to do for the entire area and give the firm who receives the contract better guidance before they give you a dollar figure.
Gotcha.
I have
Go
two
ahead.
questions. So it sounds like we could go ahead and pick a firm and then maybe have a workshop with the firm and the Parks and Rec Board be, because they have about 5 master plans.
They do. And I still believe what we were talking about with the planning department. I also believe that they should be a part of it to help
Right.
facilitate with that. Because there's a lot of questions that come up. Plus, it could be, if the planning department can come through it, it might be able to ease on
Right.
what the final outcome.
Because what we
of
can
the
put there
final
and what we
cost.
can't, instead of saying, oh yeah, we want
Right.
the pie in the sky, but we're not able to put it there. So but I think if we went ahead and picked a firm based on this qualifications you did, it would speed up the process and say we're not churning our wheels, that we go ahead and pick a group, meet with them and get something planned. My second question was, is Jordan Avenue go all the way up to the old pavilion and the area around that?
Yeah.
So it would
Yeah.
include where the old pavilion was?
Yes, but the Corps also has an easement there that we would have to take into consideration that runs right through the middle of that and then over to their dock.
So that's why we would need to have, yeah, okay,
So here's first thing is I think that the RFQ should be selected and we should pick the one with the highest points that the staff looked at. If we do that, the same organization back in 2021 did a Parks and Rec master plan, and part of that work that they did included that area. They're actually in it, and it's available in the back sheet, back table, and all the commissioners have a copy as well. So that is one advantage of being the Parks and Rec Board prior, is I was aware of this. So with that being said, a lot of I see two things. The question I had whenever I looked at this was, what area are we asking them to design? Because if we just say Block Q and Jordan Boulevard, are we going to come back later and go, we want this looked at, and later we want this looked at? We're still piecemeal on the plan, and I think, Tom, you were involved in this. I think the idea of the prior board that started this process was, let's look at the whole thing, right? Is that correct? And we're still leaving parts out. So I think, number one, we need to define what areas we're looking at, and I think we incorporate the purchase of Block Q into what this yellow line is here, and Jordan Boulevard, because those were not in this scope. But we add that to make a defined area, and then we can say, okay, for those areas, like we define the boundaries, and then in that area, in my world, it is what's the highest and best use for it. And so if we define the area, then have the planning board look at it, or not the planning board, the planning department look at it and go, this is what we can do, this is what we can't do. They know about the easements, they know what the FEMA rules are, they know all that stuff. That would take that work off of us paying an outside firm. We'd handle that part, quote unquote, in-house. And then we would go to if McGill is selected tonight, then we would go to them and go, these are the boundaries. This is what your limitations are. What's the highest and best use based on that information? And I think that's a much tighter scope than just tell us what we can do here. That's my thought process.
Anybody else?
So we would make,
Clear as mud, right?
so we would make a motion to accept McGill with the idea of staff and the board discussing what we want them to pursue.
I can make a motion if you want me to.
You go right ahead.
I'd like to make a motion that we accept the RFQ from McGill. I would like, the second part of that motion is I'd like to engage the planning department to do an initial review. And then thirdly, before we award a contract, that we narrow the scope of the space we're asking them to look at. And then they already have a conceptual plan in their process. And in my one advantage that I saw to McGill versus the other one, that's a long motion. Make a motion.
Make a motion, but you can't comment.
I know, I'm sorry.
Go on,
My apologies,
Or
my
Heather's
apologies.
got a cramp in her hand down there trying to type what we're saying.
Delete that. My motion is to accept the RFQ from McGill and then have the planning department review.
Is there a second to the motion?
Is that enough?
Say.
Would you be willing to amend it to have the planning department work with the board to narrow the
There
scope?
you go.
That's what I was trying to say.
Yes.
All right, Madam Clerk, read what you have, so that we're all of us in the room on the same page.
How about to accept the RFQ from McGill and then work with the planning department, or have the planning department work with the board to narrow the scope? And staff.
And staff.
And staff.
Everybody good with that? All right, who was the second maker?
Oh, I was trying to make the motion when he started, so nobody.
Third base.
All right, who? You were trying? Doc made the second. Okay,
No, I made the first.
you made the first, he didn't do anything.
He messed it up. We got it
He
straight.
messed it up. All right. So
I
you,
don't care as
so
long as
the
we do it.
motion, that's your motion?
Yeah,
Sure.
Yes, I second
And
it.
you, and Ms. Page second. All right, let's have some discussion. Maybe not, but all right. Are you ready?
Yeah, I favor HDR. And the reason I favor HDR is I thought they had probably the most challenging and controversial topic we have, which is to deal with the pier. I think they did very high quality work. I thought they were very flexible in working with us, changed their schedule, sped things up to meet what we needed in terms of deadlines. They came to us with an opportunity to save us a significant amount of money by reducing the scope of their work that they didn't think was necessary. They could have just done the work and billed us for it, but they brought it to us and saved us a lot of money and showed they really had our best interests in heart. I thought they worked very effectively with us in person. They handled all the questions, all the challenges, defended their work. I think they came up with a very high quality product, and they're my preference.
Anybody else have any?
And I did look at the HDR project, and they are absolutely a top-notch firm. Absolutely.
And I looked at the scoring. It was 455, 450, that's 1%.
Yeah.
We're tied, yeah.
The issue that I have with HDR is I think they went beyond the scope. And it's a Cadillac plan. I'm not willing to put that many zeros behind it.
Well, didn't we just pass a motion they're gonna refine the scope?
Okay, we've got a motion, a second. Any more discussion?
What is the motion? Can I?
Sure. Madam Clerk, would you read it again, please?
To accept the RFQ from McGill and then have the planning department work with the board and staff to narrow the scope.
So my sense is we could narrow down HDR scope if we wanted to do that.
Any more comments? Ready to vote?
Yes, sir.
All in favor, say aye. Opposed, say no.
No.
3-1, Madam Clerk. Thank you very much, staff. We're on number 12, is that right?
Yes.
Paid parking.
All right, at the January meeting, it was asked that staff bring back information concerning paid parking. And several commissioners requested to discuss the dates paid parking is enforced within the town limits. We inserted the trends that Otto sent to us. And basically it's the cumulative of everything. And this first month of 2026, you can see is substantially more because most of them were a lot of the annual passes that they had. In 2025, I've asked, several of y'all asked when the lowest months would be. And October, November, and December are the 3 lowest months. Now, you look at that, what is clear, things you have to keep in mind is basically $25,000 a month of what the revenue would be. So, that's pretty much it. It's clear according, everything in the budget is in the budget. So as you prepare for the budget next year, you would know that those revenues were not going to be there. So they would have to be offset, whatever it might be. So.
Okay.
So we're up for discussion?
Yes, ma'am.
I came on the board about in the midst of the paid parking starting and the discussion. I was against going to year-round parking. One of the reasons I was against that was, we had a gentleman comment earlier, was paid parking was a necessity to kind of organize some things. We have very limited, according to the number of people that live here, the community, we have a very limited number of inventory when it comes to parking. I think there's only about 400. We had 455. We lost about 55 for the boat parking. I really didn't want to go to year-round parking until we could present some more amenities. We had plans to build permanent bathrooms at the pier property. That got put on hold. We had plans to fix the pier property so we wouldn't have that big puddle of water. That got put on hold. We did get the East End, those beautiful bathrooms that are down there. That was part of the plan. We're working on Block Q bathrooms. That was part of the plan. But I felt like we moved a little bit too fast in order to implement that because we didn't offer these amenities yet. I think we should have put some of that in place. So I've had several property owners tell me that people that live here on the island, most of the time that they want to go to the pier property is in the winter when nobody's here. They like to go walk on the beach. They like to go park at the pier when it's less crowded. And I think since we're not in a situation with the number of inventory to offer the homeowners free passes for parking because we don't have enough property for it, that in exchange for that, I think offering a couple of months like November and December, we we could actually start the last day of the festival because we have free parking, which is the last Saturday, I think, and then go to maybe January the 2nd because the Polar Plunge is becoming very, very popular. There was hundreds of people out there this year. And that would give, we got Thanksgiving, we've got Christmas, we have activities here, the Christmas tree lighting. And I think that would be kind of a thing to offer to not only the community, but mostly to our property owners, to give them a chance to go park in places when it's not so busy. So that's what I think. I think that would be a goodwill gesture at this point. And then once we get more amenities in there, we may have to change that just because of the cost of putting in bathrooms, putting in other things. So,
When was the last day you were talking about?
well, the festival's the last Saturday in October.
Okay.
So we offer free parking for the festival because people park
Mhm.
all the way down at the pier, all the way down at the end of Brunswick. And then I would think, you would normally say the end of December, but I think it would be goodwill to say January 2nd, just because I think Polar Plunge, there were so many people here. I think it would be a goodwill to offer that. But that's just my opinion on the dates. Somebody might have some different things.
I think overall, as far as the concept of what we're looking at, I like. There's two people that use the parking lots. There's property owners and then the people across the bridge. Our primary responsibility is to the people on this side of the bridge because that's who we represent. However, a lot of those people, probably at least over 1,300 property owners, own rental houses. And the people that are talking bad about the town, that's a perception. You say they're across there, they're just whatever. However, when they're talking, our renters are feeling the effect. And so PR, whether you like it or not, is a factor in this situation. And if we can offer 2 months, November and December, and maybe adjust the dates to the festival versus the Polar Plunge, I think it would go a long way in the community out for us, for property owners that come and visit their property, and also for the community across as a goodwill gesture to say, hey, listen, it's not just about money. We want you to enjoy this place too. And if that would turn the tide, you can't guarantee that it will, but if it would turn the tide of public opinion, then that would help our renters out. And so we would make up whatever the $50,000, we would make that up in occupancy tax revenue increase because we become more of a friendly place again. And so, like it or not, our image has been tarnished, and I think this would be a great way for us to a goodwill gesture to start fixing it. Now, with that being said, I don't think we should do anything tonight because if we're talking about changing park for November, December, we've talked about the revenue decrease, but we've not talked about the expenses. So I want us to really understand what that's going to cost us because we're still going to pay people to clean the beach. Matter of fact, if we take that off and everybody thinks that we're going to have a lot more, people come in, then you're going to have more expenditures. So we need to know that up front. I think that would paint a bit. We got one half of the picture. We just don't have the other half. And we're coming into budget season here in a couple months. And so whether we make a decision now or we make a decision in April, the important thing I think tonight is for us to say, hey, we are definitely going to look at this and see if there is some way we can cut these months. But we still need to wait on the revenue number, at least so we know what the net number is. That's just my thoughts on it.
I've had a lot of people contact me in both directions, I guess you would say. I've had lots of property owners contact me and say, don't do anything with it. As was stated earlier tonight, leave it the way it is. And then I have had also a lot of them, and they were property owners, not folks that don't live here, that, as Dr. Dyer said, they come down, during the off season and they bring their families down, during the holidays and things like that. So they would like to be able to, not have to pay for their family to go park, to go for a walk on the beach. I'm supportive of looking at it. I don't know. This is a tough one because I know once you make a decision to go backwards, then if you change it, want to go forward again, it's kind of a difficult one. But I think what we're going to ultimately, and I don't like to compare our island to the other islands. I mean, I know folks want us to give free passes to the owners and things like that, but that becomes a real mind-boggling thing in that we can't charge the same thing, reduced rate at the pier than we can others because of the part of rent that we have there. So it's a challenge. But I mean, if you compare us to like Oak Island, for example, trying to get to the beach at Oak Island is totally different than trying to get to the beach at Holden Beach. And so you can't compare us to others. And I think we have to look at it from the perspective of what's best for Holden Beach. And that's how I want to look at it. I mean, you know, I have to walk to the beach, and you know, I wouldn't mind having a little bit of flexibility there, to be quite honest with you. And sometimes I want to go down to the East End, and if I go to the East End, I have to park, or I can wait till 5 o'clock and go. So I would be open to consideration for a couple of months. I know whether we do vote on that tonight, or if you want to wait till the budget session, because it's not going to impact. It's going to impact next year's budget, not the current year budget, basically, because we've already budgeted for this year.
Yeah. I guess I'm still confused because I'm hearing both we're doing this for property owners that are coming off season and we're doing it for off the island. I guess I'm not clear who we're doing this for. As far as off island, I mean, we all know what's going on in Brunswick County. It's obvious we're going to be sharing our beach with a lot of people in the future, and there's costs associated with sharing, trash, bathroom, police, all this. I think it is fair to share some of those costs with the people who we're sharing the beach with. But bottom line is, I mean, anything that shifts revenue is going to basically shift the cost from the visitors to property owners, because it'll reduce revenue and we have to make it up some way or another. So I'm still, I guess, not sold on what the rationale is for, you know, who we're doing it for, why we're doing it for them, and how much that is that we're doing. I've tried to get reduced rates for property owners passed, was not successful. That I think is still a viable option. I also think it's a viable option to have off-season rates, since the beach has a lot less to offer off-season when you can't go in the ocean. So I could see seasonal rates. I guess I'm not in favor of opening it up for a couple months. I remember very well what it was like before we had paid parking. It was a free-for-all. And, you know, I assume if we have free parking, Otto's not going to come out here and do any enforcement, and we're going to be at extreme risk of going back to the way we were, which was just mayhem. So to me, yeah, we need a lot more thinking about this. I need to better understand, like I said, who benefits, why we're doing it for them, how much we're doing it, what the rationale is, because I'm not sold that we should do this.
Well, I mean, unless we're going to put a gate up at the bridge, we can't keep the people coming from the other side. I mean, let's just face it. So my stance on it is I want to accommodate the property owners who live at Holden Beach, but if we give 2 months free, you know, for November and December, if that's what we go with, obviously people that live on the other side of the bridge can come here for free as well. But let's face it, we're going to make money off of them the rest of the months when the other folks aren't here. And so I think it's, and most of the people that are paying in November and December, if you look at the numbers, are not people that are buying year-round passes. Those are people that are paying, you know, for a day or a week when they're down here, just based on the numbers. I mean, because most folks are going to go ahead and buy these yearly passes, you know, early on in the year. Of course, I always contend nobody should buy a yearly pass. Y'all probably don't want me to say that, but I say you pay as you go until you get the $175, and then you don't have to pay anymore. I mean, we can't reduce the yearly rate, I don't think. But I mean, I think we're trying to help out our folks on the island that live here, whether they live here all the time or part of the time, just to give them a little bit of accommodation. I mean, it's not a lot, but yeah, that's $50,000 that we'll have to make up somewhere else. But hopefully we have more people come.
Well, I think we have to be careful saying sharing the beach. It's not our beach.
It's not our beach, that's right.
I don't think we get federal money to help with the beach, so I don't think we should say sharing our beach.
All right, any more comments?
Just to be clear, this is to benefit the residents and the property owners of Holden Beach. Whether that is a direct reflection where you can drive to your house during November and December, and you can go to the East End and visit those wonderful new bathrooms. If you haven't checked them out, go before 9, after 5. They're beautiful. More, we're going to have another set open over here. I mean, we can have a bathroom tour at someplace. the lake's leaving the pier, so we'll have more spots that are open. It's gonna get sometime restriped or something like that, to your point. So, number one, it is to benefit the property owners of Holden Beach. As a byproduct, you're gonna at least put yourself in a position for people that live off the island who live in Holden Beach. They may not have Holden Beach taxes, but they grew up 2 minutes from that bridge and they live in Holden Beach. They do not tell you they live in Supply. They tell you they live in Holden Beach. They grew up here. This is their beach. Now they are pretty protective of calling it their beach. So as they should, because this is where they always came. Mine was Carolina Beach. Mine was Cure Beach. I know. So, but I just want us to be clear. It is legally, I guess, if you want to say it that way, structurally, is to benefit the property owners. Because every property owner benefits if there is good talk about our town. Point blank.
All right, so we've discussed it. Have we satisfied the purpose of this being on the agenda?
Yes, sir.
All right, well, can we go to the next item on the agenda?
Thank you.
We're not gonna take any action then.
No action. Ms. Ferguson?
Each year as part of our federal advocacy, you guys have to formally adopt what you want your priorities to be. If you look at the memo that I attached here, 1 and 2 look much like last year. If you move down to the policy realm, we are suggesting that when we go to Washington, we need to focus on advocacy so that this idea that Cat G funding for beaches does not go away from FEMA, and also better understand all that make sure what the legislators' understanding of what proposed changes are. From the staff perspective, is very alarming that the committee that they put in charge of reviewing this, that there's no representatives from North Carolina at all. So make sure that when we're going into the offices and we're visiting that folks, that they know exactly what they're about to be voting on, just like you guys recognize what you're about to vote on when you come in here. And finally, just beneficial use of dredge material placement. Make sure that we still advocate that we should receive sand each time that there's an opportunity for that to occur. So these have been laid out for you. While you do have an additional policy area available, we would suggest leaving that open in case something arises, and then you can later tag that on as part of that's already included as part of your contract for the year.
You need a motion or consensus?
I have a question.
Yes, sir.
The beneficial use of dredge materials for the, like crossway dredging and pumping it on the beach. Do we still have an issue with finding a place to put the spoils when we dredge the canals, or is that no longer an issue?
As part of our advocacy efforts in the past, Congressman Rouser did put forth some legislation. The way that legislation reads is that if the Army Corps of Engineers has not used the site in 20 years, that the underlying property owner does have availability to use it through a process where they gain permission through the Corps, which is what we're currently in the process of doing, because we do anticipate, as the blast went out from Town Manager Chadwick, that we will be doing a dredge of the canals in this coming winter, November to January timeframe.
So that doesn't need to be on our list? Okay, thank you.
Now, I want to clarify that I can't guarantee what they're going to say in response to our requests. So we would always have to fall back to a fallback plan like we did before. But the process is started and the legislation is there as a mechanism from the federal level.
Is there a motion of any kind?
Make a motion to accept Christie's recommendations for the federal priorities.
Second.
All right, made and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say no. It's unanimous.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Ferguson.
All right.
Public comment.
Make sure I got.
Public comments. At this point in time, if you raise your hand, be recognized. Come to the podium, give us your name and the address. 3 minutes.
Carlton Pittman, 144 Tarpon. We have more than half of our police department here who have been waiting patiently, some of them on their days off, to hear the chief speak. I believe he has a few words, so I would request that my remaining time go to the chief and that he get his 3 minutes.
We're gonna let him speak anyway, I believe. That's,
They're all here on the back. Some, not all of them, but some here, they're on the back. So I'll try to get them out of here.
Commissioners, you want to let the chief go ahead? Have you had time to write your 2-hour speech?
2.5.
2.5.
Sure, you go ahead.
I'll yield my
All
time.
right. Without objection, the chair is gonna allow you, sir, come entertain us and inform us.
Is he on this, does he have 3 minutes or 2.5
He can
hours?
have as long as he wants. He's got a gun.
Not as easy as I thought it was gonna be.
No crying in baseball.
No crying in baseball, that's exactly right. As everyone in here knows by now, I have accepted a job in Shalott as their chief. It was not a decision that came easily for myself or my family, but we decided it was the right move for us. As this is my last meeting here, I just wanted to say a few words to the community and kind of express my appreciation. So that I would not mess this up, I did write it down, and I'm gonna try to read this. Bear with me as I get through it, and I appreciate it. Thank you all. So first, I actually want to start back here. I want to thank the mayor and all of the commissioners who have served this town. No matter your position on some of the more divided topics over the years, we didn't get everything we asked for. But one thing has remained consistent, and that's been your commitment to public safety. Every elected official that has served this community, sat behind this dais, has shaped our police department for what it is today. So whether you served almost 20 years ago when I started, or now in 2026 as I depart, I am beyond grateful for everything that you have done for this community and can continue to do to support our mission of public safety and public service. Our community would not be what it is today without your leadership. I also want to thank all of the business owners, property owners, and everyone who calls Holden Beach your full-time or part-time home, or even your vacation destination. I've attended conferences and trainings across the entire East Coast. And in talking with other chiefs and agency leaders, one thing stands out to me, and that's how supportive this community is of its police department. I have never had to battle defunding or public ridicule. Our officers have never had to endure the uncertainty of coming to work tomorrow. You view us as part of your community, and more importantly, you accept us as part of your family. You invite us to your neighborhood cookouts on Memorial Day, Labor Day, and 4th of July. And just like family, we've been invited to your weddings. We've been to your Thanksgiving and Christmas dinners. Some of you actually leave entire dinners at the office for us. When it's hot outside, you bring Gatorades and cases of water and drop them off just so we stay hydrated. You leave us fruit baskets and snack trays. When it's cold out, you drop off homemade chili and cornbread. Some of you even leave your crock pot at the office for us. We wash it, take it back to the house, you fill it up again and drop it off again. I am honestly, sincerely forever indebted to you for the love and kindness that you show these men and women sitting in this back row back there. The officers I've served with, I'm sorry. To every officer that I've served with for the last 19 years, you have encouraged and inspired me in one way or another. Behind these walls, we've joked, we've laughed, we've prayed, and we've cried. We worked some bad calls together, but we've worked some funny ones too. In good times or bad, we've always had each other's back. You are the definition of professionalism, and I'm honored to have served alongside you. But work aside, what really makes our relationship special is what we've endured personally. Those personal relationships that we had. From the birth of your children and watching and joy as we watch them grow together. Seeing the struggles of parenthood that you've all been through, or the unfortunate deaths of our loved ones. We've praised each other's accomplishments, and we've carried each other's burdens when the times were dark. I would not be the man I am today without your support. So from the bottom of my heart, thank you all. I'm almost done. We're gonna wrap this up. It was not supposed to go like this, I'm gonna tell you. I got one more group I want to thank. See, the police department cannot be, and we are not what we are without the relationship we have with Public Works, the Water Department, inspections, the Finance Department, Human Resources, and the town manager and the assistant town manager. Whether it's a water leak call for us or an ordinance call, everyday complaints, payroll and purchase orders, or personnel matters, absolutely nothing we do at this department is accomplished without the team effort we get from our staff here. And I know the fire department might not be a direct town entity, but the relationship we have with Chief Todd and his team at Tri-Beach is vital to our mission of public safety. The police department cannot be successful without the support we get from the other departments. You have all, in one way or another, taught me to be a better public servant, and you've also taught me to be a better person. And I thank you for that. So I know everyone's tired of hearing me ramble. We're gonna wrap it up here, honestly. These are just a few reflective thoughts that I had today as I was going through some things. I've watched countless sunrises over the east end of this beach. They represent a new day and a fresh start. They bring hope and joy to all of us, knowing today can be even better than yesterday was. And I've watched the tides ebb and flow. High tides bring in all kinds of interesting things from shells to shark's teeth. And as the water recedes, it washes away the footprints we leave in the sand. It leaves a blank canvas behind. I've also watched countless sunsets over the west end. They represent the closing of another day. The sunset brings upon us darkness of nightfall, but it is in that darkness that we still find comfort knowing the sun will rise tomorrow. You'll never know how much I truly cherish this community. This decision was a difficult one for my family and I, but as I move to a new chapter in my life, I hope that you would find peace and warmth in tomorrow's sunrise. Because with that sunrise is the opportunity for a better day tomorrow than you had today. I hope that as the tides rise and fall, and my footprints are inevitably washed away, you will support the next chief in his or her journey as they lay their own footprints in our sand. And when you find yourself in the darkness of nightfall, thank God for the blessings he gave you that day, and sleep peacefully knowing two things. The men and women of the Holden Beach Police Department are watching over all of us, and the sun will rise again tomorrow. Seriously, thank you for your time, and thank you for letting me serve this community.
Sound like a true statesman. I thought about you today while I was at Kentucky Fried Chicken. You slow?
Yes, sir.
I was sitting there, I'm sorry, I got
Go ahead.
1 minute. Sitting there gnawing on my chicken, and everybody in the restaurant around me jumped up and went over to the window facing the bypass there in Slow. And smoke was billowing out from under the canopy at the gas station there at the overpass, 130 and 17 bypass. There was a car underneath that had caught on fire and shooting up under the canopy. And of course, that was the excitement, smoke everywhere. And I thought about you, Chief. We don't have gas stations. So, and also there's a crowd coming at an intersection down there, 2,000 people, I understand. We don't have those kind of activities either. So you want to move on, think of it. You're always welcome at Holden Beach.
I appreciate
And
it.
I think everybody in this room love you and appreciate you and your staff. Really do. Okay, that's a tough one to follow. Somebody over here wanted to speak. Mr. Babington? It's a tough act to follow, sir. Are you sure you want to speak?
Bob Abington, 1249 OBW. We're gonna miss you. I wanted to talk about parking. And when I started reading what the actual agenda was, what I wanted to say didn't go along with it. So I waited till the end here. I'm in favor of paid parking. I sat in here for all the meetings where all this stuff was discussed. And we've got so many people moving into Brunswick County. Everybody moves here with the idea we're going to the beach every day. Before, we looked at all the parking charts and all that. People were parking, it was a zoo as far as parking goes. I listened to people. My house is on the west end. I didn't have issues with people parking in front of our place, but a lot of people on the island do. And the paid parking has really helped out in that regard. But I disagree with some of the stuff related to it. One, I think we should open it up in the off season. I think it'd be a nice gesture for the community. And I'd like to open it up more than a couple of months, like some of the other jurisdictions do, 3, 4, 5, 6 months even. I don't think there's a lot of money I don't think there's a lot of people rent parking January, February, March. I just don't see it, but it might be. I do believe that the day visitors ought to have some skin in the game. The property owners, particularly the homeowners, up until paid parking, were footing all the bill for beach access, trash pickup, which should go up. We do have a lot of trash that's not getting picked up. Bathrooms, all that's that's entailed. And the property owners are the ones that were up until now footing that whole bill. So I like the fact that if you come here, you're gonna have to pay for some parking. But I like to see the property owners get a break. I think that property owners or homeowners, because they're paying the bulk of the taxes, I think they should be able to park on Holden Beach town property for free, period. If you've got a sticker, a re-entry sticker, I think you should be able to park for free. Most of the people that have homes on the island here, they're not paying for paid parking anyway. It's not gonna hurt that much. These people are parking in front of their own houses or in the off season. There are some of us, though, that rent year round. Not a lot, but some of us that rent year round and live off the island. And it'd be nice to be able to go to the beach without having to pay parking, considering that we're already getting taxed a lot for these amenities. So I think that would go a long way to solving Commissioner Dyer's concern. Do something for the people here, give them a break. And I think it could easily be done that way. That's basically where I'm at on paid parking. I'd like to see the taxpayers get some time.
Thank you, Mr. Babington. Anyone else? Yes, ma'am.
Marty Airwood, 114 Shrimp Street. A couple of things. I need some clarification on independent audit committee, because it was my understanding when we get an independent auditor, the word independent means totally away from all of us. They're doing an independent audit on what we're doing. And the audit committee looks at their report. And if there were any questions, they question the finance department. So I don't understand, or I'm losing the conversation about why the audit committee needs to be tasked with all these questions to ask the independent auditors. That seems like that's crossing over what an independent audit is supposed to be. So maybe as y'all get to budgeting, you could explain that a little bit to this history teacher. Avenue Q, I've been here since the very beginning of all this and back and forth, and everybody seems to be going, I'm gonna throw this out there and I'm probably gonna make some people mad. You go, let's get an RFQ. Let's kind of talk about, well, what do we, all right, when they bought the land, they talked about having some pull-through boat parking. So I say in the RFQ, say, can we put that there? There's also been a lot of conversations through Parks and Rec and everything else and what goes on over here about pickleball courts. So I'm gonna throw out in your RFQ, one of the things you might want to ask these people, can we put them down there? There's also a dog park that got closed down. Can a dog park go in there? There's 3 things I can bring up now that nobody wants to hem and haw about, and we're gonna tiptoe around it. I'm throwing it out there, okay? As I plea every year at the beginning of the budget process, I live on the East End, more trash cans. We don't need them at every public access. We probably need them every 15 yards, all the way down from the Ferry Street public access to the East End. Because people are not gonna take their big bags of trash and walk 25 yards to a trash can. Okay, I mean, that's just our biggest problem down there on the East End is we just, that's kind of a group of us on Monday mornings, pick up our trash and our black bags and we head for the accesses and everything. And that's part of it. We need more trash cans. And finally, Jeremy, we're going to miss you. They all talked about Mr. Holden, started talking about Charlotte. He forgot to tell you, you got 2,600 school students in your district. Have fun, middle school especially. You're going to do a wonderful job. It's been a pleasure knowing you. If you need somebody to run your Dunkin' booth, I'm your woman. We made $500. I put him in every 5 minutes for about 2 hours. I'll be glad to, and I'll be glad to give you my cornbread recipe. The other thing is, as an old coach, this is the philosophy, and this was my real reason for speaking. If you are happy as a coach, coaching staff, and you lose your head coach, if you are happy with the direction of your team, if you are happy with what's been going on within your coaching staff, you hire from within. That keeps the continuity. I'm going to go real quick. If you're not happy with the direction, if you definitely need a change, if everything needs to be stirred up, then you hire without side. Be very careful when you do that because you're going to get a lot of stirring. And we have a wonderful police staff. They've been around. I've been around a lot of them. And they all love this town as if it was their own. So I think we need to look within our staff for our new chief. Thank you.
Anyone else want to speak? Bauer?
Jim Bauer, 329 OBW. Chief, may the nightmares become less, as an ex-cop and as an ex-fireman, may the nightmares become less sharp, and may you laugh at all the good times. Not a day goes by I don't howl about it. Back to parking. I have to tell you, unlike a lot of people on Holden Beach, I deal with a lot of people on the other side of the bridge. They hate us anyway. Okay, if there's one day of paid parking, they're going to hate us anyway. Sand isn't free. FEMA could disappear in a moment, in a dream. At $75,000, if it's $25,000 a month, and we're canceling it down on 3 months, that's a police officer. That's a public works employee. That is another couple of 100 of cubic yards of sand, signed, sealed, and delivered. You guys can do what you want to do. You always do. But once again, you have to realize, you don't realize that if you don't talk to the other people on the other side of the bridge, you don't understand. 3 months isn't going to help at all. The other thing is once again, we're going again with an RFQ. We don't know what we want. When I was a fireman and as a cop, I was a contractor. If you don't know exactly what you want, you can't draw it up in a contract. Nobody's going to want it, and nobody's going to sign it. That's what happened to the pier. How long were we looking for RFQs for the pier? Because we had no idea. Please, please, please beat the dead horse again. Please ask the town. We have these electronic processes that are so fantastic. You can ask the town what you want to do. It doesn't have to be done now. We don't have to rush. Thank you. God bless you. Godspeed. Be safe. Great work, guys.
Anyone else wish to speak? Last call. Yes, sir.
I'm not a resident. Am I allowed?
Yes, sir. You're always welcome here.
How are you? Good, good. Hey, guys, how are you? Thank you for taking a second to speak with me. My name is Shane. Some of you know me. I'm a former employee of the town of Holden Beach. I had the pleasure of working under Chief Dixon and Lieutenant Dilworth. Gave me an opportunity and hired me, and during that time, it was a great experience. I have to say that there were times that I struggled. I was a former police chief myself, and so coming in here, I had to humble myself, and I had to learn a lot. It was a big change of pace for me coming here, and Chief Dixon took me under his wing and mentored me, and I had other dreams and aspirations, and he helped me fulfill that. And so I have roots here at this town. And him and Lieutenant Dilworth gave my son an opportunity. Now, Austin, my boy, works here. And there wasn't another police department that I wanted him to come to because I knew that he was going to be taken care of here under Chief Dixon. And his leadership is just, it couldn't get any better. And so I wanted to come here today. Austin told me that this was your last town hall. I said, oh, I wonder if I can go. He said, I think it's public. Okay, I'm coming. So thank you all for giving me the opportunity to speak. I just want to say, to mirror what he said, what big shoes to fill. He'll continue to be my mentor. He'll continue to be my friend. I still stay in contact with him on a regular basis today, although I work for the sheriff's office now. I moved on, but I'm still very grateful for his friendship and his mentorship. And you guys are tasked with an enormous responsibility. I would not want to stand in your shoes to have to replace him. And so choose wisely. I don't think you got a week. So yeah, it's going to be tough. And I understand you have a tremendous amount of applicants too, a big pool. So it's quite a task. So thank you guys again. Jeremy, thank you for everything. I'm so proud of you. I'm so proud of the man you are. I'm so proud to call you a friend. And thank you, Lieutenant, as well, for believing in me, and thank you for believing in my son and giving him a chance. So, all right. Thank you,
sir.
folks. Appreciate it.
Anyone else wish to speak? All righty, we're gonna move on to.
Now, no, it's just doing it. He was trying to go
I'm
in.
trying to get
Oh,
over
I don't have to. I don't pay.
You wish.
We've already deferred one of the topics. He's got to talk.
Here we go. There we go. Now. Actually, we've handled a few things on this list already for the report. So I'm going to go down to information you don't have already. The Block Q stage area. The final specs are being just got the text today that the plans are complete. And the staff will do code review, and then we'll just be distributing the request for proposals. And the bids will be returned to staff with a recommendation for approval by commissioners. So just got that fresh right off the presses. Again, the North Carolina Resilient Coastal Communities Program, the last word that we had was the information has been sent to the organizations. I don't know if it has been gathered or anything has come back yet. The Southeastern Regional Hazard Mitigation Plan, still in process, but you will be within the next month
my understanding from Tim being getting something for, an action item for that, for a resolution. Halsted Park, the contractor will begin work in the next couple of weeks. The pier is closed still due to safety until further notice, as previously advertised. The auditor selection, RFQs have been received for review by staff and the audit committee, and the audit committee will be meeting, and the Board of Commissioners, plan selection should be at the March meeting. Lockwood Folly funding, Congress has approved an appropriation for maintenance of Lockwood Folly for $900,000. So we got that from, Congressman McIntyre, well, Congressman Rouser, but, from Mr. McIntyre. The canal dredging, plans are being made to dredge the canals next winter. So that is in process. Christy and I, we met with them a couple of weeks ago. Ocean Isle Borrow area. Ocean Isle has requested to expand the Shalote Borrow area site. And we have asked Fran Way, he's composing a response for the town at this point. Now, commissioner vacancy. Dun, dun, dun. Actually, I'll leave it open. Several commissioners have asked about the vacancy and the process to replace. I recommend you discuss at either a special meeting or the March meeting, or you can discuss it now for the process. The floor is open.
I'd like to discuss it now. Like I said, I've done research. There's two ways: appoint somebody or have call for application. People apply for the spot. I think we should start calling for people to apply for the spot. See what we get.
Yeah, I think I've seen it done two different ways since I've been here in 2020. Number one, they asked for applicants and they interviewed them and then they made a decision that night. I'm not a fan of doing that, but I am a fan of us getting applicants. The other way is they did nothing. I'm not in favor of that. I think the way I read the ordinance, I think it's the same way you read it, Tom. You shall appoint somebody. It doesn't do a time frame, so I mean we could do it in 2030 if we wanted to. But I mean, I think we do it sooner rather than later. However, if we look at the candidates in whatever we do, if I look at the candidates tonight and I got to make a decision in 15 minutes, that doesn't give me time to reflect or think or make the best choice, in my opinion. So I would be in favor of, let's make an announcement. Let's bring them back to the next meeting. Let's receive those, start looking at those, and let's make a choice in April. That would be my thought process. And the third option that Mr. Bauer mentioned earlier, Maria Surprise called me last month and suggested the same thing. So there is a third option. But I would still like that second option.
Well, I would prefer an open process as well. I would like for us to see it opened up for folks to apply if they're interested in serving. And I mean, I don't have a problem with that. If we could go ahead and do that and direct staff to get that process out there, and then we could do interviews like a special meeting, I guess, before the next commissioners meeting. And then we could, I mean, we could.
It would depend on how many applicants.
Depends on how many we get, I guess, whether or not I would be comfortable in making a decision at that meeting.
And they could take applicants and then narrow it down to top 5 or something.
I would request at least a week between the time we look at the applicants and make a decision. I just want some kind of a buffer time. I don't care when we do it. If you do a special, do it at March, whatever. But I would like at least a week to kind of review.
I think what I'm hearing is we applied for applicants last time they interviewed, like we interviewed for board positions. And yes, I agree. It's like you interview and then you got to pick. I'd rather interview, go home, sleep on it. But to me, as you said, we've got to do this. It's part of our job. The sooner the better, as far as I'm concerned. We got to fill the spot. I don't want to rush it, but I don't want to sit here and wait 2 months without doing anything. So, I would be in favor of calling for applications now, give them 3 weeks or something, and then give ourselves a couple weeks on after that. I mean, I think we should have them interview. Speak.
Are we required to meet to receive them? We're just required to meet to interview them, right?
gave them a deadline and you wanted me to share the application with you guys, then you could call an interview date after that if you choose to interview people. I mean, I
We-
don't think you'd want me to forward them each time as they come along. I think you'd want me to probably collect them and then we go from there.
The point is, we're gonna meet to interview 'em.
Yeah, it's the process we do for other boards is we apply, we interview them, we pick.
When are we starting the budget process?
We've got the dates.
When would we start?
It would be the beginning of March.
But yeah, we put your goals together.
Yeah,
that we
we've
need
got the
to
goals
Get
together.
out to you guys, but we were looking at them. Your goals are ready, so we're in the process of choosing the first date for you guys
Yeah.
to do it.
So potentially, if we chose in April, they could be a little bit behind the curve.
Possibly, hopefully those, if anybody has applied, hopefully they might would attend those meetings as well.
That's true.
Because you guys everybody already submitted their goals, so
Mhm.
really you
Yeah.
just need to talk about them. Either way, you're
Yeah,
gonna be behind them.
Okay.
I have everybody's goals.
Right, okay. Let's make motion, or you wanna talk more?
The other thing I'd say is, been doing this for a while. There are no regulations, to my knowledge. Just because one board did it one way, another board did it another way, does not set precedent. You can do it any way you want to. And, there is no required time frame other than reasonableness, whatever that is. And if I say something wrong, Madam Attorney, I hope you correct me. But, there are a lot of good qualified people within the town limits, and I hope that you guys will make the right decision. I'm sure you will. But I'm very much concerned about somebody coming in and not having knowledge of the past, with some kind of experience with the town of Holden Beach other than just owning property here for a year or two. Coming to meetings like this, like these people have, is critically important in my mind. Serving as a volunteer in various positions helps establish knowledge, and I just hope whoever you choose has a good round, general, broad view of what the town of Holden Beach is all about and how it functions. And there's nothing wrong with someone that has no experience in getting involved, but to immediately come on board and not know the general functions of the town and how it works is a problem. So I just hope you remember that.
Mayor, this is gonna be, maybe, tell me if I'm wrong, out of order. Can you let me know what your opinion of a good time frame is? You've been here longer than
Yeah.
most anybody.
Reasonableness is, in this case, I would say 2 months to have somebody in the chair.
Thank you.
So you'd like us, we'll go ahead and advertise, and then we'll give a 3 weeks, 4 weeks return. And then at that point, we'll forward them to you. So you can peruse them. And if you want to narrow them down, or if not, if you want to interview everybody, all of them that you get, then we'll set up a special meeting to discuss. Well, we don't necessarily have, we might be able to work it at another one. But we want a special meeting, I would think.
It's gonna be a special meeting either way unless we put it on the agenda, right?
Right.
But we can back that up behind the other meeting?
We just put it at the beginning.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Do a special meeting at whatever time and then roll into the scheduled meeting for
Well,
that month?
I would suggest you advertise, see how many applicants. If you got 3 applicants, it's not the same as if you got
That's true.
50 plus
Yeah.
applicants.
Yeah.
So don't corner yourself
Yeah,
into
okay.
something.
Start with application.
Get the applications in and then decide how you're dealing with it.
Okay.
Before we move on that though, what do you want them to send me? Do you want a certain form? Do you just want them to send a resume? Do you want them to send I've done a few different ways with you guys in the past. So do you want them to just send why they want to be commissioner, what their experience is? What do you want them to give me to give to you?
I think kind of like a cover sheet, like you do if you apply for one of the boards, and then they can attach a resume if they want to.
The actual board application form that.
Yeah.
Have we done this before?
Yeah,
We
we've
have
done
some?
it. I think that's
I've
what I
done
had.
it a couple different ways. Through the
Right,
20,
I would
through the
say
20
that-
years, I've been through a couple, but we've had, where they just send what their reason is, why they think they should do it. We've had them send in resumes.
I agree with Sylvia. I think the
Yeah.
cover sheet we use
For the other
for
board.
the others and attach a resume would be fine.
Gotcha.
I would like a resume.
I would tell them to attach a resume.
Gotcha.
And just for clarification, I think CVs, some people use CVs now, which,
Right.
so whatever their supporting document is, but I like the fact of the cover sheet that'll kind of formulate, we can do apples to apples.
Sounds good. And 3 weeks, is that what you guys said? You want to give them 3 weeks to?
So our next commissioners meeting is 4 weeks from today. So 3 weeks, we get in a week ahead of time, but then you'd still be interviewing, if we could set up interviews, then we can just and figure out the schedule from that, but
I think,
It
right,
might be quick to put it on anything on the next meeting. You might want to, it would be at in
April.
between the next meeting and the April meeting that you would do that, and then maybe look if everything works out, installing them at the April meeting. But there again, you don't want to paint yourself in a corner until you know what you have.
can we just do the first step and see how many applicants we get?
Yes.
Because like you said, if it's 3, that's one thing.
Yeah.
We could probably do that right before a meeting. If it's 50, we might need it.
I think
Another
3
time.
weeks is sufficient time.
And so you'll send it out and make sure I'm understanding. You'll send it out. We'll get the response back in 3 weeks. And then once you get them collected, you'll forward them to us. And then at that point, we'll determine when to schedule a special meeting.
You make me nervous when you start saying specific what you're gonna do. I would just say you
application.
make plans accordingly.
Yes, sir.
All right, anything else? Do you feel like you have directions enough to move forward?
Yes, sir.
All right, what else you got, sir?
All right, well, Riley Gleason has been promoted to utility billing specialist. Jessica Camara has been promoted to the detective for the police department. And Adam Milligan has graduated from the FBI leaving. So, and actually, I was gonna segue at this point into Jeremy, but just relaying a lot, and I know I'm looking at you, but I'm looking at him as well, because working with Jeremy just this past 6 months, leadership. I've been at places to where leadership has not been the best leader. And we've been on a pure conversation during this whole process. And I've told him at any time he could, the end of February is not there just yet. So, but it has been an honor to work with you. And coming from being a police officer, I know I've looked and I have known chief, and you are chief. You're going, as we have said, you're going to do great. I don't even have to say that without any, but it's been an honor to work with you. Anything, just as I've always said, all you got to do is talk. So, and we understand that there are big shoes to fill. He has been a part of our process that we are doing. And as you can imagine, there are a lot of people that have wanted to come to Holden Beach. And so I appreciate him, his willingness to continue to be a part of that process, to know that the next chief, he's going to have help choose that next person. So, Easter egg hunt will be Good Friday, with sign up beginning in March, right? And Heather said, this is the last thing I'm gonna tell you to remind you that for my report from this point forward, we sort of changed a few things around on the agenda. I'm gonna be handing it out at the meeting because there are some things that always get added. And we will post it when Heather does the blast from the meeting for the next couple of days. So you'll still see it. It's just going to be on the second half instead of seeing it before, and then we have to add different things. So, just to give that heads up. That's it.
Thank you, sir. Mayor's comments are brief. Be sure to vote in the upcoming election. And there's going to be a lot of hot issues out there. It's going to get hotter. And one of the hottest things out there is all the activity, as Brunswick County is now the #1 county in America for growth. And I think the population is about 175,000 now and rising quickly. And the infrastructure, the water and the sewer, much less the highways. The allocation of the water and the sewer has surfaced to be, in my mind, nothing more important as the water and the sewer and the roads and the safety of our people. We're growing faster than what we have in place can accommodate. I was at a highway meeting this morning, and for example, the intersection of 17 and 211 been put off again. And as I pointed out at the meeting this morning, yesterday, I believe it was, I looked at plans for a little mini strip mall going to be built where the old pink antique building is there, that intersection. That's going to be torn down. They're going to build a retail facility there. And then guess what? We taxpayers, with this project being delayed, now we're going to be able to pay for purchasing and tearing down probably a practically new building whenever the state gets around to purchasing the right of way. It's just, and then you got the bridge in Wilmington, all that money that the New Hanover County people are trying to get. The list just goes on, and I don't know what we're going to do with everybody. I really don't. And pay attention and vote accordingly, whatever you have in mind, because whenever I was a boy, I could leave my office, be in another office in Charlotte, young man, I should say, in 10 minutes. And now, if I don't allow 25 minutes with all the red lights and the traffic, depending on the time I leave, I may or may not be late. And Southport, I used to be from my office to an attorney's office in Southport for a closing in 25 minutes. Now, if you don't allow 60 minutes maybe, depending on the time of the day, you might be late. And it's going to get worse. And in today's highway meeting, we talked about the bridge on 211, where Lockwood Folly Bridge, it always goes underwater in big storms. All those people down in Oak Island and Southport trying to get out. They can't get out because the water's over the bridge. Where's the money going to come from that? The list just goes on and on and on, and I don't know what the answer is. The bypass around Charlotte from the 31 coming and dumping in toward Hickman's Crossroad. The big question is whether you're going to run the people up on 17 and then try to get to Charlotte and have a big traffic jam, or do you go all the way around to Leland? The big bypass all the way from 31 to the bypass up at Leland, which is what I support, but where's the money? And prices are going up. All that acreage between the South Carolina line where that road comes in and where it needs to go, and just a few years ago, it was $1,000 and $1,200 an acre. And now some of it is going for 6 figures an acre. I mean, where the cost is outrunning our capability of providing. And I don't know what we're gonna do. Somebody smarter than me is gonna have to figure it out, but, I'm really worried about it, and I don't know, I told somebody today at the meeting, 10 or 15 or 20 years from now, people are gonna look back and say, those crazy people in 2026, why didn't they take care of this? Some of us are gonna be dead and gone, but, it's a big problem, and any article that you read or hear on TV or the radio now will tell you that North Carolina is a magnet across the country. Everybody's trying to get here. We're always in the top 3 or 5 states that people are trying to move to. And so we've done something right, but now we're gonna have more friends than we anticipated. It's kind of like having a place at the beach or a boat. Your friends go up and you have a place at the beach or a boat. So anyway, enough rambling on my part. But
Excuse me. I'd like to use my time right now to reiterate everything. Jeremy, you've done an incredible job. I've been coming here since the 80s. I moved here permanently in 20, and anything I ever needed, it's been forthcoming all the time. You're a wealth of knowledge. You're a good leader. I not only known you as a police chief, I get to take care of your babies, and so I've known you in several capacities. I came on this board about the time the police department was struggling. I was serving on the board when we were down to 3 or 4 members, and there was no questions asked. Your officers stepped up. They worked overtime. There was always somebody here on the island, and that's a representation of what you've built. And I'm so thankful for what you've built up, and we hate you're leaving, but you're leaving us in the best of hands that I've seen this police department in years, and you worked your ass off to do that. And I'm very appreciative that you're leaving us in a good situation. We hate that you're going, but this is a big opportunity for you, your family, and nobody can downplay that at all. And we're gonna miss you. We're probably gonna still aggravate you, but I really appreciate you. I can sit on my couch and watch TV, and I see blue lights constantly patrolling. They come up my street, my dogs bark at them, and so I feel safe. And thank you for everything you've done to make me feel that way. And thank you for leaving us in good hands. You got some great officers, and I'm appreciative. And be safe, and best wishes.
Respect.
I would just like to say that appreciate everybody coming out tonight, and I hope you will continue to do so and sending us those emails and tasking us to think about things maybe that we don't sometimes think about. I was appreciative of the opportunity to go for some training in January with Keith, and we learned all about the essential facts that we need to know about municipal government. And Jeremy, I think I told you I met your new boss, the mayor there, and I had to chastise him for stealing you already. But I did put a good word in with him. So
I hit him.
Did you hit him too?
Yeah.
But I would be remiss if I didn't also express my appreciation to you and congratulate you on your opportunity. I knew it's a big career move for you, and I know you'll do an excellent job. I know Charlotte's will not like Holden Beach, but you can always come back here and visit. But no, I do wish you none, but I know you'll do an excellent job there. You've done an excellent job here. You've been nothing but professional from all of my interactions with you, and your staff follows suit. I would say that. I'd also like to, while I'm thinking about it, we had the birthday celebration on Friday. I think it was our 57th year, right? And we had pretty good attendance. And I'd like to just give a big shout out to Heather and Chrissy and who else was involved in organizing that, because it was a very well planned event and we had good attendance. So thank them and all the other staff for everything that they do. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. Where do I start? Chief, the first time I met your police department was that gentleman in the back, Shane Bell. He was my introduction to the Holden Beach Police Department. Our dog had opened the door and apparently ran out to the street, and he put her back, and then he stopped by later to let me know what he had done. And so I struck up conversations with Shane, and we became more than police officer and resident. We became friends. never heard a cross word. He expressed to me that he was a chief and he was coming back here and it was a different circumstance, but at no point in time did he ever disparage anybody on the force. And, you know, if someone's going to, they're a chief, they move back to a place and, you know, this guy don't do it this way, this guy, none of that ever happened. The fact that a few years later, he recommends that his son comes here and work under you, I think that's probably one of the biggest testaments. I place my daughter's hands in your life, their life in your hands, and I appreciate what you've done, what you've created here, and I'm hoping that they continue to enjoy and experience what you've built here. And so I just want to thank God for you and the work that you've done here. I want to thank God for the staff. I want to thank God for the mayor. I want to thank God for my fellow BOC members. I'm not thanking God for everybody, but I am thanking God for our beach, and I thank God for this town and for our community.
Sure. Thank you, Jeremy, for your years of service to the town. Greatly appreciated. This is a significant step, well earned, good step in your career, and I wish you well. Anything we can do, do not hesitate. And thanks to everybody who's attending or engaged. Appreciate your involvement with the town business.
Okay, I think the next thing is, consideration of going into executive session. But before we entertain that motion, I'm gonna ask if y'all stand. Give the chief and the staff and our other town staff members a hand. Very much. All right, is there a motion to go into executive session?
Motion.
Second.
The reason we're going is personnel.
143-318-1186.
Okay. All right, we will be going to executive session. I don't know how long it's gonna last, but we will come back and go into regular session. Could be 5 minutes, could be 5 hours. I have no idea. But thank you very much for being here. Are we